Hey folks, so today I got a good one for you. We're going to go over a slew of housing data. So, some of this information is coming from the National Association of Realtors. Some of it is also coming from the National Association of Home Builders. And I'm also going to go over a quick snippet of the Fed minutes. So, just starting us off, we're going to look at this first picture right here. So this is coming from the National Association of Realtors, and we're looking at pending home sales index. Now, before we actually take a look into this data, I just want to explain pending home sales and the index. So, what do these index numbers actually mean? So you guys can see that it's not actually giving us pending home sale numbers. It's giving us this index number. So 100 will represent pending home sales of 5.3 million. So this is actually the base number that was used in 2001 when this index was started. So what are pending home sales? So pending home sales are homes that are under contract. So this is essentially meaning that an offer has been placed and the home is taken off the listing. So, during this time, investors, they're going to want to inspect the property, they're going to want to get an appraisal, they're going to want to do all of these things. And that obviously takes time. So to close a deal, it usually takes about 1 month, or it could take much less time if the offer is in cash. So why does this matter? Well, pending home sales actually gives us a peek on future existing home sales data because, like I said, this is information that, it could be a future sell. So this is essentially going to take about 1 month to close the deal. So we could see this in the future existing home sales data. So this can also let buyers know that the market is weakening and people might just lowball some offers. And on the seller side, it may let them know to price the homes less aggressively so that they avoid time on the listing. So, obviously, if homes are on listing for several months, people get wary. They're like, uh-oh, what's wrong with this property? Should I be cautious? Maybe I'm just going to lowball in case there's something really messed up with this property that I don't know about. So now that I explained this, let's just look at the data here. So if we're just looking right here, here in July of 2021, we were seeing in the entire United States a index number of 112. So this is definitely higher than 5.3 million homes that are pending sales. But here in June of 2022, we're seeing an index number of 91. That is essentially letting us know that we're seeing pending home sales that are less than 5.3 million. So, this does not look very good. So, pending home sales is actually down 20% year over year and 8.6% month over month. And this is essentially showing signs of a slowing housing market. Now, what I have here is really just, a few years of data. So it doesn't give us a very good representation, which is why I felt the need to get this nice little graph for us. So we're going to look at picture number 2. So picture number 2 actually shows us pending home sales index over a longer period of time. So we can see that this number seriously dipped during the pandemic crash. So, let's just ignore this right here. I mean, this was quite the anomaly. I think that this is an outlier and we could just take this data out. So if we're just taking this data out and we're looking the last time we were down this low at a 91 index level, it was around this period right here. So this was right around 2007 to 2012. And we all know like what happened during that time. So, 2008, great financial crisis. And yeah, so we all know what happened around that time. So we're literally going back to these levels. So that's obviously not a good sign, you guys. Now we're going to talk about existing home sales. So let me just zoom in here for you guys so you can see the numbers a little bit more clear. So before we actually take a look at all of this data, we're going to talk about what are existing home sales. Well, existing home sales are essentially homes that have been sold in the US. So this is sold data. It's not listing data. So why does this matter? Well, this can actually tell us how fast or slow properties are selling, and it also gives us average selling price by region and nationally. So this will give us an idea if pricing is coming down. So let's just take a look at these numbers. So here we can see it gives us the entire US. It gives us Northeast region, Midwest, South, and West. Now, obviously, your specific market is going to be different, but this is just giving us a broad overview. So do keep that in mind. So here in 2021, we can see that existing home sales was about 6 million and 30. So here in 2022, we can see that existing home sales is 4.8 million. So versus the prior month, this is actually down 5.9% versus the prior year, the same time, this is actually down 20.2%. So we are seeing a pretty significant decline right here. Now, let's take a look at the sales price of these existing homes. So here in July, we can see that the average sales price is right around $403,000. Now you guys might say, oh, I live in California and these homes are going for over $1 million. Well, that's your specific region. So if we're just looking at the West in general, it's clearly much more expensive than all of these other regions. So here in the South, we're seeing 365 million or 365,000, my bad. In the Midwest, about 293,000, Northeast 444,000, and West 614,000, 615,000 basically. So clearly much more expensive here in the West. So here we can see some sort of inflection point. So the prior month, it was $413,800. In May, it was 408,400. So, is this going to be some sort of inflection point where we do see prices coming down? So that's something we're going to have to watch. This data generally comes a little bit later in the month. So, definitely the next time it does come out, I should definitely cover it. So here's the existing home sales in a broader time frame. So, when we're looking at data like this, we never just want to look at a few years. I mean, this doesn't tell us a whole lot. We got to go back many, many, many years to actually get a better idea. So if we're looking right here, 4.81 million is the most recent reading here. So we do have these outliers here in 2020. And, we do have this one outlier here in 2016. So let's just take that out. Now, the next point where we're actually seeing a cluster of data closer to where we are now is all the way back in 2014. So I do believe that is an interesting thing to note. So now we're going to talk about the National Association of Home Builders and their housing market index. So this is basically going to give us home builder sentiment. And, it's calculated in a pretty funny way. So the way that they actually do this is that they get a survey and they ask respondents to rate market conditions for the sale of new homes at the present time and in the next 6 months. So, they're getting people in the actual market, these home builders, and they're essentially getting, their sentiment. So the formula is good minus poor plus 100 divided by 2. So let's say good is 50 and let's say poor is 50. Now this is going to give us a number of 0, and then we add 100 to that, and then we divide that by 2. So essentially, if good and poor are equal, we're going to get a index number of 50. So anything under 50 means that sentiment is more towards the negative side. Anything over 50 means that sentiment is more towards the positive side. So let's actually take a look at this data right here. So if we're looking at the housing market index and we're in 2022, we can see here in January, sentiment was pretty good. It was 83. In February, 81. In March, 79. April, 77. May, 69. June, 67. And then July, 55. Here in August, 49. So we are actually below. And then they do break this down for us in the individual components. So if we're looking at single family, it's 57. If we're looking at single family for the next 6 months, they're looking at 47. And traffic of prospective buyers, they're using a different calculation that's not quite this. So, obviously right now, home builder sentiment, it's looking a little bit weak. So that's another data point right there. So like I said, with anything, we don't want to just look at 1 or 2 years of data points. We want to go back in history. So, I went ahead, grabbed all of this information, threw it in an Excel spreadsheet, and I did a conditional format. So everything that is below 50, I have highlighted in red. So 50 and below, highlighted in red. So when is the last time that we saw numbers this low? So let's just take out 2020 out of the fray because that was a very interesting time. So the last time that we saw home builder sentiment this low was right around 2006 to 2014. Now we all know that the Great Financial Crisis, that was 2008. So obviously home builder sentiment, it wasn't too great a little bit before that and sometime after that. So as you guys can see, 49. So we need to kind of keep an eye on this information, see if that home builder sentiment continues to go down, because that will definitely give us a better look on the state of the housing market. Now, I did go over this information before, and this is basically looking at housing affordability, and it's giving us an index number here as well. So if we're just looking at this, I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. So we're looking at June data, and we're getting median price of existing single family homes. So right around here, it's about $423,300. The mortgage rate, this is 5.6%. So it's going up, as you guys can see. The monthly principal and interest payment, it's around $1,944. That's a lot of money, you guys. So payment as a percentage of income. So here we're looking at the median family income, which is around $91,952. So this principal and interest payment is actually 25.4% of the median family income right now. So generally, people don't really want to give loans out to individuals who are paying over 25% of their family income towards the principal and interest payments. So if we're looking right here, we're looking at qualifying income. This is the income that you need to be making for banks to give you that loan. So here it's actually higher than the median family income. We can see that in previous years, it wasn't higher than the median family income. So finally, we're seeing this point where, interest and principal payments are just getting so high that qualifying income has actually gotten higher than median family income. So this is kind of concerning. So now we have this index number, and the way that we get this index number is we get column E, which is median family income, and we divide that by column F, and we multiply it by 100, and that gives us the affordability index. So right now, it's not very affordable. So it's definitely concerning. Now, lastly, I just want to talk about these FOMC minutes notes. So it says right here, let me go back, let's see. Some participants indicated that once the policy rate had reached a sufficiently restrictive level, it likely would be appropriate to maintain that level for some time to ensure that inflation was firmly on a path to 2%. So what this essentially means is we could possibly see higher mortgage rates if they do decide to hold rates for some time before they see inflation fall. So I'm not saying like much more higher mortgage rates than where we are now. I'm just saying elevated mortgage rates for some time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this information. Definitely like, subscribe, do all of that. This information does take a while to accumulate, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great one.